Welcome back, everybody. So, if you do not know who I am Chris, Coach Chris, CEO Chris, whatever you want to call me, however you know me. But today, we will be talking about some early game fundamentals in our new Jungle Improvement series. And pretty much, I want to go over some basic concepts for all of our iron to gold, plat-ish players that want to just get a refresher or learn something new today and go back into the Rift and dominate. For me, what my objective here is to help you guys improve so you guys can get to the best spot in your goals, to get you to everywhere you want to be on the Rift, everywhere you want to be in gaming, and also help you out outside of gaming, such as your workouts and things of that nature through our coaching and through our events. So, if that sounds fun to you, come join us in the Discord after we finish this discussion and we can roll on. But let me go into what we're going to be talking about today in these videos. So, the main things that we're going to talk about is the early game. And we're going to be talking about what is the early game, what is the things you should be thinking about and the things that you should be doing during champ selection and ban phase, things you should be doing when you load up to the game, like your level ones, your farming essentials, especially for my farming jungle enjoyers out there, and your ganking essentials for my ganking enjoyers, like your Elises, Lee Sins, and so on. And then objective control. There's a lot more that goes into this, but we are going to hit base level here, and we're not going to go too in depth. I'm not going to hit you with 30,000 different like examples in game because every game is different. We're just going to be very straight to the point. So yeah, we're going to move on to the first thing, and that is going to be talking about what is the early game. And pretty much the early game for a jungler is everything under the sun until those plates fall down at 14 minutes. And this pretty much like encompasses you getting a lead through farm, through ganking, helping your teammates out by stopping the enemy jungler. And that's essentially your three main categories of what you need to do. Added on, four, and securing and smiting objectives. So these are the four things that you primarily should be thinking about. Don't think about it too much. Don't think about it too more in depth because those are the main core things that you really need to know. So we're going to roll into the champ selection screen currently and talk about some of the things that you should be thinking about and planning for before you even load up into the game. So let's move on over there. All right, guys. So we're on to the champ selection. So pretty much three things that I want you guys to worry about when you're in champ select is what champion you're going to play, obviously, because you can't get into the game without locking in your champion. Like, come on, bro. And then identifying who's going to help you carry once all the champions are locked in on your team. And then lastly is your build and rune variations. So pretty much, yeah, for playing your champion, you want to pick a champion that you have highest mastery on, preferably. Hopefully, it's a champion that you enjoy. If you somehow have a champion with 5 billion mastery on it, and say you're playing like Skarner and you just hate Skarner, but it's the only champion you can win, maybe you might think of learning a new champion that you enjoy, so the rank climb is just better for you. But yeah, you want to play your highest mastery champ, and below platinum, like you can lock in your champ pretty much 90% of the game and feel like you won't get counterpicked. Obviously, you will get counterpicked, but I think people think like, oh, I picked a champion with a dash and they picked Poppy. It's just like over for me. There's a lot of things that you can do like against the other champion. Like if you are strictly just playing better, you have more farm and more gold and resources in them, and you simply just like theoretically one-shot them. how can their champion counter you? So I don't think you guys should really be worrying about counters until you probably get up to like diamond, maybe even like masters, when people are playing at the most optimal way that they should. So I wouldn't worry about too many counters. Just lock in your favorite champ, lock into your highest master champ, the champs that you just can win the most on, and don't have to think while you're doing your clears and things of that nature. So yeah, that is my recommendation. If you need help picking a champion pool, I am here to help you. Next, once every champion is locked in here, as we look on a screen, you want to pick who's going to help you carry this game. And this is pretty much the side that you're going to strong side and weak side. And if you don't know what strong side and weak side is, it's pretty much the strong side is how I define it. You are pathing towards a lane, say your bot lane, and you want to actively gank for them when your time is available. And then your top lane is weak side because you're leaving them kind of to fend for themselves. And it could be flip-flopped. You can do that for top side. You can do that for bot side. But that is essentially what it is. And you just want to identify some people that you think will be good against their comp if they were fed. Like, if I get my Misfortune and my Rel fed alongside of me, how can this enemy Mordekaiser ever touch my ADC? You know? How can anyone get to my ADC? So yeah, that is one thing that you can do. And then also, these things change mid-game, and you're going to have to change up who you play for. But primarily, that is the thought process that I go through. And 90% of the time, it is correct. 5% of the time, they throw and they play bad, and I have to switch to my top laner. But a lot of the time, if you give them ganks, give them kills, they will help you win the game. And that's why it's a team game. So yeah. Lastly, your build and rune variation. For example, on Diana, I go 2 variations. I go my bruisery tank build, and I go my one-shot AP build. And this is solely dependent on what my team has and what their team has. If their team has a lot of squishies, I'm obviously going to pick a more assassin build. If they have more champions that I need double rotations of abilities and spells on, I'm going to switch to my tanky style build. Because at the end of the day, in a neutral state game, you want the best outcome that you can get. And through your runes and your build, that's going to give you the best chance. So yeah, you definitely don't want to go into a full tank matchup on the other team while you're playing one-shot Diana and expecting to get a kill in a neutral game state. Maybe in like you're 15 kills ahead, maybe you might be able to. But yeah. And then with your runes, you might want to switch between Electrocute or Conqueror or whatever your champions prefer. And maybe really look at your minor runes, like what you might need. Like, do you need a little bit extra tenacity against these people? Like, would you like a little bit more health because they have a certain amount of runes or they have a certain summoner spell? So things like that you can change. Don't feel like you need to default to the websites that give you the best builds. Sometimes the best builds don't work down in this low elo. Sometimes you can put some random tank item onto your champion right now, and it just does amazing for that game. Like, for example, if you're playing against a whole bunch of crit buyers, you can buy Omen on, say, Diana or some other champion. But if you were playing another game and they were playing all AP champs, you're not going to buy Omen. You're going to buy Abyssal Mask. You're going to buy Force of Nature. So you need to actively be thinking about what are the items that you're going to build and take at what time and what stage are you going to buy them. And that's going to give you the best chance to carry throughout the rest of the game, and just put this thinking on the back burner because you've already thought about it while we're in a champ select. So yeah. Hopefully you guys got the gist of that. Now we're going to go into our level 1s, farming, and pathing. See you guys in just a second. Alright guys, so now we're moving on to the level 1 tactics and strategies that I think you can use literally every game. So most of the time, this will be different for your farming and ganking junglers. That this will depict what you pretty much want to place down for a ward. But here are some baseline things that I go for when I am warding. So we're going to go right here on the blue side. Just give me a second. Yeah, so here on the blue side, I'm sorry, on the blue side, I'm the blue jungler. That is what we're going off of. Don't worry about this jungler. He's irrelevant. Like he 9 times out of 10 is when you do carry your games. So there's aggressive wards and defensive wards. The aggressive wards, we like to use them to track what the enemy jungler is going to do, what's their path. You want to know if they are going to gank a lane because they're all pushed up in 1 HP, or you want to know if you're going to meet them at the scuttle, or if they're about to gank mid, things of that nature. This is the information that you get from those type of wards. And sometimes you can get this information without the wards, such as enemy bot lane walks to lane late, or you see that they have used some mana coming back into lane, or top laner comes in a lane late, walks a certain way that makes it seem like he came from the jungle. These are all things that you can watch for, but in 2025, people are getting smarter and not getting a leash because junglers don't really need it, and it helps the jungler stay hidden. So, for this ward right here, it is probably a very tough ward, and you, 9 times out of 10, will need your team to walk with you. And if you don't get your team to walk with you, I advise not doing it, because you don't want to give up a first blood. You don't want to just die unnecessarily, give away 300 gold. So, unless your team walks with you to this specific one, don't do it. A ward I like to do on this side, if I really, really, really want information, I will walk all the way to the Raptors and get a Raptors clear at 108. Reminder, 108 is when you want to put down these wards. 108 should give you just enough time to walk back to your blue buff or walk back to your red buff, no matter where you are. Unless you're like all the way in their base for some reason, then like you're kind of weird, bro, but that will give you enough time. So, coming back over to this side, these 2 wards right here, I like to use. This ward I like to use for anyone who I suspect might invade me, late invade me after their blue buff, or just wants to walk in and steal my Raptors, aka like these dirty Kayn players that like to do it sometimes. So, that is why I ward that buff, or ward that area, because it also can give enough time for a level 2 gank and possibly a level 3 gank, depending on how fast they are clearing. You could possibly spot them walking to gank your mid lane. But that one is very rare. So yeah, use this one primarily to spot if anyone wants to take my Raptors, or walk anywhere in this direction to mess with my mid laner in that first couple minutes of the game. Back to talking about Kayn. Kayn has map scaling, usually against champions that have map scaling, and that I think are not interested in my Raptors to start off with. Then I will ward right here by the buff. This pretty much covers anyone who wants to take the buff. I put it in the bush, because if you don't put it in the bush, you can pan your camera and you will see that your buff is gone. But for your teammates, primarily, you want to have the icon show on the map. So put it in a bush so you can see them. Sometimes you might miss it if you're not thinking clearly. So put it in the bush. And this will let you know if they're taking your buff. And yeah, self-explanatory. These protect you, especially when you're a farming jungler. Protect you and know exactly what you need to do. Like if you need to come over here and take his top side, or if you need to just come over here and gank mid, and then know that your camps are gone, and go just gank bottom lane, and then come back, reset, go to your top side, and wait for your camps to respawn again. Gives you so many informations, and then just puts more options that you can do. So, moving on over here to the top side, and this also flip-flops to the other side. Two defensive wards that I like to put here is defensive ward on the blue buff. Pretty self-explanatory. This will watch anyone who wants to take your blue buff and or your grump, unless the jungler comes around here and starts it like that. But in my whole time of playing, I have never, ever in my life seen anybody do that. So, I might try that one game. Now I'm thinking about it. But this will stop your blue buff from getting stolen, pretty much. Well, actually, technically, it won't stop it from getting stolen unless your teammates rotate and save you. It just lets you know that you're getting robbed. So, yeah. 108, yet again, put it down 108, walk to your other buff. Another defensive one I like to do is this one in the river. It covers your mid lane. It covers them walking into your jungle from this way. The only thing it's susceptible to is if enemy jungler starts red and somehow goes the long way all the way around to your blue buff and takes that. Which, again, I have not seen that in many games, but that one can actually happen. But this one, yeah. This one will let you know if they are walking into the jungle to do anything other than steal your camp. Like, anything, really. And then this one over here, we talked about it earlier, lets you see what their path is. If you do not see them show up by 245, 250-ish, then they either did not start on that side or are completely doing something different, aka ganking your bot lane, or going to wait to gank your mid lane, or just sitting in a bush waiting for something to happen, because that happens a lot in the elo, and you guys can capitalize on it. So yeah, those are some of my early wards. Where you want to sit pretty much is, I like to sit here. I rarely never sit here unless mid lane is covering here or support's covering there. I sit usually right here. I usually never sit right here. I like to sit here by the blue buff. Keeps you the most safe. Because if they walk in as 5, please don't try to fight them. Please. Just give it up. Go here. Go here. Do something else. Knowing when to give things up is key. So, yeah. That is pretty much the wards. We're going to go into just like some early game pathing for your farming junglers and your ganking junglers. So yeah. Alright guys, moving on to pathing. We're going to be very quick on this one. So, your pathing. Early game pathing. Farming junglers, ganking junglers. Farming junglers, they need the farm, they need the levels and experiences to do anything primarily against someone else who's doing the same thing. Ganking junglers, they don't really need the experience, they need the gold. So they can afford to skip out on camps. It hurts you when you're playing a farming jungler when you skip out of camp and you don't get anything. So I like to see pathing as a race against the other jungler. And in this race, it's multiple races. Your first clear, first 6 buffs. Once you finish that, whoever gets the scuttle first pretty much wins the race. It usually results in you get the scuttle or you get to kill them. And then you rinse and repeat. And that is how I have looked at the early game for centuries. So, here's what I mean. If for some reason I am the blue jungler here, and I am playing Diana, I do my 3 camps, 240-ish, 245, I should be crossing the mid lane. If for some reason the enemy jungler is way slower than me, and is still on his wolves at this time, and I get to my wolves before him, it is a cascading effect. If I do not mess up my clear or any other external factors, that I will be able to finish my 6 camps and be at this port in the river where I have many options. While the enemy jungler is either getting on their Krugs or finishing their Krugs. And this gives you just a wild possibility of things that you can do and gives you an advantage as a farming jungler. Some things that I like to do: go for a gank. Top, go for a gank. Mid, go for a gank bot. Or get in here, get a ward. Or one of my favorite things to do: I'm level 4, they're level 3, they're slow, I won the race, I'm walking in there and I'm killing you. Just like that. A lot of, in a perfect world, this is how I like to do it most of the time. But there's a lot of other factors that play into this, such as lane power IO, like if your top lane is shoved in and things of that nature, or you took a lot of damage for your camps, many things. But these are the basic options that you pretty much have after that. But back to starting off your clear. Simple thing. Raptors, Krugs, red, very standard. Please do not go Raptors, red, Krugs unless you are a farming or a ganking jungler. You could do it on a farming jungler, but you better be sure that you can do something bot side or have a good reason to do there, because the time that it takes you to walk back here is it slows down your clear more than you think. So I suggest to everyone who is planned out to do a full clear to go Raptors, Krugs, red, and then we'll move over to your Wolves, and then your Gromp, not your blue, then your Gromp, then your blue, and then you walk in a river and assess your options. If mid lane is 1 HP, go mid lane, kill the mid laner. If top lane is fighting and they're both half HP and your top laner has their abilities and CC's back up, go top lane, get yourself a kill. At this point in the time, you need to find yourself a kill or an advantage somewhere, whether that is getting the scuttle before the enemy jungler, recalling before the enemy jungler, so you're back on the map before he is, getting a kill, so you just have that extra gold, because sometimes enemy laners are just another camps for you. That's pretty much what you want to do as a farming jungler. If you can do your full clear, end off with a gank and a scuttle, perfect. Perfect full clear. Perfect. That's what you want every game. Ideally, we don't get it every game, but that is what you're looking for every game. So, we're going to go back over to our ganking junglers here. So, ganking junglers, like I said earlier, they don't really need the experience early on as much as a farming jungler, because you're absurdly strong half of the time, depending on the champion that you're playing. If I'm playing Evelynn against a Volibear, I cannot walk up to a Volibear level 3 to level 3, because I'm going to lose, because they're just stronger than me and they don't need too much more to kill me. So, for early game ganking junglers, yes, you can do your full clear. Just know you might still be slower than your full clearing junglers that you're going against, such as Hecarim, Diana, Canes, and things of that nature, and you will be at a small disadvantage. But one thing that you are really good at is getting to your level 3 and having your abilities. And what I would like to do is a little crossover gank. Blue, Gromp, Wolves, see the mid laners fighting, mid laners pushed up. I have the damage. I know I can kill them. Cross over mid lane. Get your gank off before you finish, because you already know that you're not going to finish before that Hecarim or Diana. Try and get a kill, get a flash, anything like that, and just swoop back up to finish your full clear. And see if you can get something top. After every 3 camps, I like to look at it. Try and look for a gank. Try and look for some way you can kill. You could also get spicy here and invade, because you are stronger. You guys are still level 3. Unless they have finished their full clear, then they're level 4, you're level 3, and you might be in a predicament. But you have to use your advantage this way, primarily. And then also, again, the safe play. If there is nothing on a map, full clearing is okay for ganking jungler. It is okay. We like levels also if we can get them, but we don't need them as much as those farming junglers. So yeah, that is kind of the early game pathing um, fundamentals that I go off of. And we're going to move into the objective controls and how you can secure OBJs in this hectic meta of everyone wants feats and everyone needs to get objectives. All right, guys, our last topic, we're going to talk about objective control, the simple, basic way that you can think of objectives, which will stop you from throwing, stop you from dying, and get you more objectives. So, in 2025, you finish your first clear, you get to your second clear, boom, a dragon is spawning already. You are 5 minutes in the game, pretty much. So now you got to figure out, where am I pathing to? If I'm pathing top lane, am I pathing bot lane? Where did I path? If you're pathing to the dragon, it makes it a lot easier, because 9 times out of 10, if you get there quickly, you will be able to get your first quadrant that you started, your first 2 camps, such as in this game, my Gromp and my wolves, and I get to path down and cut to the dragon. You definitely want to cut to the dragons when the map allows you to do that. So, what I mean by what the map allows you to do, more so, what does the map and your teammates allow you to do? As you see right here, my Yasuo is literally pushing the Luxin like straight to her tower. But my bot lane down there is pushed into their tower. So there's a lot of factors that go into this, such as push, health, and things of that nature. So what I decided to do in this game is I just killed Mordekaiser. Mid has to recall. I just helped gank top. And we are 6 minutes into the game, and grubs are spawning. So if in a perfect world I farmed both my camps and went down the bot side, I would have secured the drag possibly after I help my bot lane push in, because you do not want to get rotated on because you have no prio on a lane. And prio, for everyone who does not know, is who has the push in the lane. So here I was able to get the grubs because Lux was not in lane. I pushed out the jungler and I pushed out the top laner through all my actions up there. So I was able to get the grubs pretty much for free. And that is pretty much how you want to like gauge if you are securing these objectives like correctly, is how free was it for me to get that? Like, did I have any fear that I was going to get contested on that? And there on the grubs, I had no fear because I knew exactly where Mordekaiser was coming from. I knew where Lux was, and I knew where Aatrox was. And at all points of the time, at every point, I'm sorry, at all points of the time that I was looking at the map, taking the grubs, I was watching to see if anyone else was rotating towards me. Um, Here, this is kind of weird because 9 times out of 10, you should be expecting to trade an objective because usually Mordekaiser there should have went to drag and just taken drag because I was up here. I ideally could have just did grubs and went straight to drag, but I wanted my levels and I knew I could close the game out, so I decided to farm my camps and be a little more greedy. But there's many options that you can do after taking that first objective. But pretty much the things that you need to secure these objectives is lane prio and knowing if you are stronger or not than the enemy jungler. As you see there, I didn't fight Mordekaiser simply because I know that he has R. I have not base for any of my gold, so I don't want to just fight him because, like, I know that I'm doing better than him, but I know that until that gold in my pocket is spent, he is theoretically doing better than me. Actually doing better than me because I haven't spent that gold. But now that I've spent that gold, I am completely skipping all of my camps down here, even though it looks like they are gone from Mordekaiser, which is another weird thing that he didn't do. But we're getting too much into game specifics. I want to skip my camps, go to the drag because I have prio in both mid and in bot lane, and I want to take this opportunity to get the objective. And this is more likely if you ping your teammates. I suggest that when you guys do ping, you use up every single ping to where the game literally says you can't ping no more until your teammates listen to you. And secure the objectives when you can. This will give you more time to get back to your camps because they'll be DPSing the dragon, making it faster to clear. And if the enemy jungler wants to rotate on you or enemy mid laner, you can have better position in fighting and be able to capitalize on just being at the objective faster. There's really not more to talk about securing objectives. Like, we have there's smite combos that you should learn about, which I will make some videos on specific champion smite combos. But here, if you are doing it correctly and efficiently and just diffing the enemy jungler, you should have almost no contest on these objectives in the early game. Because I know we all have the feeling of when we're doing bad and we know that we just can't fight the enemy jungler or the enemy lanes are just too fed. And if you just have a thought of walking into the river while they are all in there, you know that you're just going to like die in 2 seconds. And you just don't even go for the objective. So yeah. And after this, it is all about ping-ponging objectives. At this point in the game, you're pretty much going to be farming a couple camps, hopefully doing a full clear, hopefully ganking some lanes, and just waiting for the next objectives to come up and trying to rush the objectives as quick as you can and give the enemy jungler no chance to come back into the game. You want to make the enemy team feel it when they see enemy has secured a dragon, enemy has secured grubs. You want to make them feel that they're losing everything in a game and they have no way to win. So I hope this video was enjoyable. We're going to be talking about the mid-game fundamentals as we move on to our second episode, since this was our first episode. If you guys liked, please give it a like. Please give us a comment on your thoughts. Let me know if any of the level 1 strategies that you can do every single game helped you. And if you would like to join us in a Discord, come join us. Links are in the description. Links are on the website. If you would like coaching from me, if you would like to get to platinum, get to emerald, also at the same time, work on your stage 4 things such as working out, mental, diet, and all that, I can also help you with that too. It is worked into the courses, so you get both fitness and LP. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video, and enjoy the rest of the day, night, morning, however you take it, however you are. Adios.